Good evening, everyone. It's a great honor for me to be here today at the PNY trainings. And at the first, I'm just going to talk about a little about PNY trainings. It offers more than 35 industry-driven specialized IT courses, and it also offers scholarships and discounts to its students. And apart from that, it also offers students placement cell, and it has experienced instructor from the relevant industry. And its edge is that it has more than 10,000 happy and satisfied students. So now I'm just going to give you a brief introduction of mine. My name is Savdur Basnakwi, and I've been working as an English language instructor for more than 14 years. And I've been teaching to international courses like IELTS, LETS, TOEIC, Pearson. And at the moment, I'm just going to specifically talk about IELTS, and I'm just going to give you some tips. And along with that, I will tell you how you can basically get through, or how can you achieve the targeted and desired band. So let's begin. Okay. So I'm just going to start. Okay. Now, at the first, lots of people, they're so much confused about the IELTS because they know that after this pandemic situations, they might have heard a lot about the changes, like some changes have done with the IELTS exams. So here, I'm just going to talk about those changes. And along with that, some preventive measures that you have to ensure when you have to enter, the exam premises. Okay. If I talk about the changes that have been occurred in the IELTS exam, so firstly, I would like to talk about there are quite minor changes. Like, for example, when you get through with the reading test or with the listening test, so usually listen that there are different sections in the listening and in the reading test. So instead of using that word sections, now they're using the word parts for it. And it does not influence on your exam. And second thing is that when we talk about listening test, right? So in the listening test, basically in the previous exams, they used to play the example first, and then they used to stop the test, the IELTS test. But now you will not listen to any sort of example. And one more thing, after, because in July, and now this new rule has been effective from June, from 24th and on 27th June exams. So now when you people sit for your speaking test, so most of people in the QCOS sections, they're supposed to speak for at the length of like 2 minutes or more than 2 minutes. But now the new changes have been made, and you are just supposed to speak only for 1 minute in a QCON section. I'm just going to talk about, I'll just tell you how you actually have to take your test and what you need to amend, and how can you brush up your skills. Along with that, how can you get your targeted band, and what mistake most of students, they make when they attempt or when they sit for the IELTS test. So let's start with the speaking first. Okay, so at the moment, I'm just going to give you some of the helpful tips relating to IELTS speaking. Okay, you can call them top 10 tips for IELTS speaking test, and what you need to do in your speaking and what you have to avoid in your speaking. Most of the people, if they're quite good at the language, or if their language is a bit good, so they don't practice a lot or do not concentrate on their speaking test. Well, as far as the speaking test is concerned, let me tell you, it is divided into 3 parts. And in the test center, in the exam room, you will have there will be only 2%. Like, one would be interlocutor and other would be a candidate. So what do you mean by a candidate and interlocutor? At the first, make sure when you go for your speaking test or for your LWR test, you need to put on the mask on your face. If you do not put on the mask, I'm afraid you're not allowed to take the test. Okay, I've got a question. I'm just going to answer all of your questions, but just wait for a while. And then one more thing. So whenever you go for the exam center, please make sure you are putting the mask on your face. Okay, so I've got a question at the moment. Let's see, what question do we have? Chat. Okay, I've got three different questions at the moment. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam, and good evening, everyone. Good evening. आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है. Okay, I'm just going to speak a bit loud for you. I think from my side it is like the volume is full. Okay. Mm, sure. Okay, now let's start. So at the first, I'm going to talk about some tips that would help you to get really good scores in speaking test. Okay, if I talk about speaking, speaking will be aggregated by three different ways. And what are these ways? At the first, your speaking will be judged about how natural is it, and along with that, you need to use a complex structure of your grammar. And definitely it will be recapitulated while looking at the coherence, that how do you correlate your ideas in your speaking test, and how do you narrate your ideas in the speaking test. Okay, let me start with the tips of for speaking test. Okay, I'm just going to enlarge it. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Well, if we talk about the top 10 tips, so let's look at this. You might be nervous about your IELTS speaking test, but with these 10 tips from our IELTS experts and plenty of practice, you will be well on your way to getting the IELTS band scores you need. Okay, so let me tell you one more thing. Now, there are different kinds of IELTS tests available in Pakistan. You can either take a PBT test or CBT test or OBT test. What is the difference between all these three types of tests? When you talk about PBT test means paper-based test. And if you talk about OBT test, it means online based test. And if you talk about CBT tests, it means computer based test. So whether you sit for PBT test, OBT test, or you go for PBT test, you need to have face-to-face interaction with your interlocutor. I'm using the word interlocutor here. Most of the people, most of the students, they take the interlocutor as their examiner. So let me clear this here, that when you will go for your speaking test, as you know that, it will last between 11 to 14 minutes. So during this time, you will have your interlocutor with you, not the examiner. That person who will be there, he's just there to facilitate you in the speaking test. For example, if you might forget something, or you get stuck with the with the ambiguity of the question, so it is a duty or it's a responsibility of an interlocutor to clear that to you. Like, for example, if I might get any difficult topic in my speaking test, so my interlocutor, if I'll ask him, he can explain that, he can briefly tell me about this. Oh, please don't draw anything here. Don't draw any lines here. Okay, and so let me tell you about these parts. It's divided into three parts. Let's talk about these three parts first. So when I'm going to talk about the first part, I'm just going to answer all of you. Just wait for a while. Let me finish with this, and then I'll come to all your questions. Let me explain first what IELTS says. Okay, IELTS, as you know, that it's the International English Language Testing System. It's just a proficiency test. So it's a humble request to all of you that whenever you're going to sit for your real test, you need to have a lot of practice. You need to get through with so many mock tests. And even for the speaking mock test, you will have plenty of the topics on internet, and they're available for you for your own practice. So if I talk about part one here, part one, you will have a 4 to 5 minute conversation with the IELTS interlocutor. about yourself, and the topics might be about work, family, home life, and personal interest. And let me tell you, you're not supposed to give, a very precise kind of answer. For example, if your examiner might ask you in this part, in part one, like he might say, "What is your favorite color?" Like let's start from the beginning. If you would say, "What's your name?" So don't simply say that my name is this, blah blah. That's it. No, you need to explain. You need to talk a little about yourself. For example, if someone would ask me my name, so I would say that, hello. Uh, hello is a formal way to greet someone. So you should know that it's an ethic that when we talk to a formal or informal person, we change our dialogue. Like if I'm talking to someone of my acquaintance and friend, and if I have any condor relationship with someone, so I can start with hi. But here there will be an examiner. So instead of saying hi, I have to say hello. So, hello, my name is Safda, say Safda Basnakwi, and my nickname is Ushan. So you can call me Ushan if you like. So try to make it natural. And then the next question would be, where are you from? So whenever this question is asked from most of the candidates during the exam, so they simply say that, yes, I'm from Lahore, I'm from Islamabad, I'm from I'm from Karachi, right? You don't need to say that only, that where do you belong to. You don't need to tell only about your locality. Just describe it a bit. For example, you need to say that, hello, I'm from Lahore. Lahore, it's famous for its heritage and culture. This is also famous for colleges and gardens, and it's a very beautiful city. It's a city of lively people. The people of Lahore are quite friendly and cooperative. So try to explain it a bit, whether you belong to Karachi, Islamabad, or any other city in Pakistan. So the question, they will be relating to your work, family, home life, and personal interest. When you talk about part two here, it's a cue card section. As I've told you that the new changes have been made. Now you have to speak at least for 1 minute. And one more thing, what you need to do here, you need to you need to use coherence in this part. For example, if your interlocutor might ask you about about your birthday party. So then you have to look into your topic first. Like the examiner will give you just 1 minute to think about the topic, so you have plentiful time. Try to jot down and make some points. Do not start, like you're not supposed to start writing a paragraph because it's a time consuming and you will not have more time. So try to give precise try to make short notes of it in 1 minute, and then try to speak on that. And one more thing, students make a lot of mistake in this part because they do not care about their tenses. Instead of speaking present tense, they are using past tense, and instead of using past tense, they're using future tense. So there's so much ambiguity. And let me tell you one more thing. If you're not if you're not giving the answer with the correct tense, I'm afraid you will lose scores, and your examiner would not award you with good bands. And try to look at the complexity of your sentences. You should know how to use sentences. You should know how to use complex structure of the language. It should be natural. Try to produce natural accent and try to practice it. And how can you develop a good accent? Try to watch movies, right? And they will help you a lot to develop good accent. And the best way is that you should watch animated movies with the subtitles. So they will help you if you do not understand the dialogues in any way. So you can easily look into the subtitle and you can understand that what the speakers are talking with each other. And then the third thing is coherence. The matter should be relevant. The material should be relevant. For example, if my examiner would ask me during the test that, what's your favorite color? So if I would say, well, in the answer, Well, lots of people, they like colors and they're crazy about colors. People like colors according to their choices and liking. So this is not the right answer because your interlocutor, he asked you the question, what is your favorite color? So you could have given another answer or answer that would be closer to your question. For example, you might say, well, my favorite color is black. It's eye-catching color. It's very attractive, and I think I look quite good and presentable in a black color. All right, and stick with the time. Try to practice your topic within time frame, and then try to produce answers for that. Now, part three. Let me tell you what is part three. Part three is about a follow-up questionnaire. Part one is called general questionnaire. Part two, it is called the cue card section. And part three, it is called Ali, Aisha, I'm just going to reply to you after this. Let me finish this, what I started. Okay, and as I was talking about part three, so it would be relating to follow-up questions. Follow-up question means the question will be derived from your main topic, from your Q card section, and then you need to speak on them, and you have to give your answer at the length of 10 seconds, or maybe 20 seconds, or 30 seconds. All right. Yes. So let me take some questions here because I don't want to annoy who are taking these classes online. Okay. So let me start from the beginning. I just want to see that what kind of question they're going to ask. Good evening. आवाज बात कम आ रही है. Okay. I have just, I'm speaking quite audible, quite audible and loud voice. So maybe is it loud now? ठीक आ रही है मेरे. Okay. That's good. Mohammad Yusuf. And Aisha, आवाज clear नहीं आ रही है. Aisha, is it clear to you, dear? Do let me know. It means we will have to explain our introduction in detail. Is it true? Mohammad Husnan, yes, of course. You can't simply say that your name is Mohammad Hussein and you're from Lahore. You need to tell them who you are and what you are and about your suburb and a little about your suburb, the area where you live. And Farah Khalek, okay. She doesn't have any questions. She sent me the smiley. Thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening, dear. Mama Zaman Freedy, attendance, please. Oh, well, I don't have any attendance at the moment, but let me ask. How to work on our accent during speaking test. I have told you, Mohammad Hussain, I think I've replied to you before, that please watch some videos and try to watch, animated movies. They're quite good. I think they're quite good in the sense that, the speaking tone is very clear, along with that the accent is very good. And apart from all that, you will get quite understandable vocabulary in that because in animated movie they don't use quite tough or complex vocabulary. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So now let me start with the tips. At the first, I talk about the duration and what factors are involved in the speaking test, and now I'm going to talk about the speaking test tips. Tip one. Okay, if I talk about the tip one, don't memorize the answer. Please do not memorize the answer. It is a habit of most of the students that they always memorize the answer, and this is not a good practice. Try to jot down your own personal experiences, all right? Write down about your saddest day, happiest day, birthday, and then try to practice that. Try to get some vocabulary from the people, try to talk with the people around you. You can talk to your friends and family member, and even you can appear in a mock test. So that will help you a lot. And if I'm going to talk about tip two, do not use big or unfamiliar words. Most of the people, they try to impress the examiner. Let me tell you, you don't need to, impress the examiner, okay? Because he's good, that's why he's facilitating you in the test. So you don't need to impress the examiner. So try to use simple words, stick with simple expression to narrate your ideas. In that way, you can speak a lot, or you can speak at the length. Because if you'll speak less than the length, or if you'll speak under the length, or if you speak over the length, you will lose score. And even during your speaking test, your interlocutor, he will also give you gesture. He would ask you to stop, because if your time will be done, so the ask you just stop. So you need to be fluent. Keep in mind, you need to be fluent. You need to use good vocabulary. You need to know the grammatical structure of the language. So I think by the platform of PNY trainings, they're offering you quite good and valuable and useful language classes. So you can join these classes, and even we can share the link with you below, or I can even share the link with you and contact number. At the end of this session, I'm going to share the contact number so you can contact on that. Okay. Tip three, use a range of grammatical structures and vocabulary. Okay. Okay. The most important thing is, what is grammatical structure? Most of the people, they think that if their tenses are good, so they're just confined to tenses. They don't learn anything else besides that. For example, like when you have to say, "Mera dil biryani khane ko kata hai." So how would you translate this? Because you will not find the structure. The tenses will not help you in this structure or to construct this structure, right? Because this is a TGG, Transformational Generated Grammar method. And in that way, you need to learn the native colloquial expression. For example, if I have to say, "Mera dil biryani khane ko kehta hai," I feel like eating biryani. I feel like eating Chinese food. I feel like talking to you. I feel like watching games. And if you have to say, "Mera dil मेरा दिल आज से 5 नौकरी करने से बढ़ गया है." Simply say that I have had enough of doing 8 to 5 job. I have I have had enough of eating lentil every day. मेरा दिल करने से दिल बढ़ गया है. So you need to know the different grammatical structure, and you need to focus on your fluency. It should be fluent, because most of the people, when they speak, they take ages. Like for example, if they have to talk about their birthday, so they would speak in this way. "Oh, well, my birthday was on 15th of July. I celebrated my birthday with my friends and family. I I enjoyed my birthday a lot. My friends and family, they presented me beautiful gifts, and I enjoyed my birthday a lot." So don't take so much time. It clearly shows that you're clumsy. Your speaking is not quite good, and you need to work on this. You need to understand that, right? And lexical resources. You need to know the grammar structure. You need to know vocabulary. You need to have a good vocabulary to narrate your ideas. Most of the people, they are unable to narrate their ideas because they are short of vocabulary. They lack vocabulary. They don't have much vocabulary, so they are unable to narrate their ideas. And grammatically range, so you should know quite a lot, or you should know more about grammar. And accuracy is very important. For example, if your examiner might ask you that you have to talk about your routine, and you would say in this way, "Well, I get up early in the morning. I offered Fajr prayer. I recited the Holy Quran. I go to, I go for morning walk. I came back after half an hour. I took my breakfast. I go to my college." So here you can see that uh, neither I'm using the present tense nor the past tense. So I have to listen to the question very, very carefully, that whether my question belongs to present tense or the past tense. All right. And if somehow, or by mistake, if I speak wrong sentences, or if I use wrong verb tense, I'm afraid I will lose my scores in IELTS, or I may run, the risk of getting fail in my speaking test. Pronunciation. Well, you should know how to use pronunciation. I can give you the classes on pronunciation but I've got some time constraints. So I'll definitely explain this in some of my other lectures, or you can join us in our Ielts campaign. So you can have a better experience that what pronunciation is and accent is, and how can you develop and learn good pronunciation and accent. Okay, to not worry about your accent. Okay, let me tell you, if you can speak or you can adopt foreign accent, that's good. But if you can't, please do not pretend, do not feign, do not use fake accent. In this way, you will spoil your test. Okay? Don't speak like native English speaker if you are a non-native speaker. You can try that if you're good at that, but please do not try any fake accent. Uh, okay, most of next tip is most of the people they take pauses. Don't take pauses. Try to use fillers. Fillers mean natural pauses. And if you're thinking about any, like as you know that you will have spontaneous topic, so it's quite obvious that person gets stunned, they get appalled, they get exhausted, they get exhausted. So now what you need to do here, instead of stopping yourself, you can use any of these phrases like that's an interesting question, or well, I've never thought about it, but okay. Oh, let me see. Oh, that's the good point. That's a difficult question, but I'll try to answer that. But let me tell you, don't use these two words. It's a good point or it's a difficult question. Because when you see yourself that the question is very difficult, it means that you do not have much vocabulary or you don't know much about the topic. So it shows your incompetency. So please don't use these two sentences. Fillers. Okay, it is good to use fillers. For example, it makes your language a bit more natural. For example, if you're speaking to examiner, try to give a smile, try to grin, try to chuckle, try to, get sad, or, it can be felt by your words, by your expressions. For example, because, the interlocutor, he will record your test and he will send the recording to the foreign examiner, the examiner who's sitting in Cambridge University. And over there, the examiner will listen to your recording. And then by looking at three criteria of complexity, coherence, and, the naturalism, and then he will mark and he will give you bands for that. So you can use the fillers to make it more natural, like, yes, of course. Oh, yeah, that's nice. I've already explained that. Okay, I'm going with the second one, extend your answer. Do not give concise and short answer. Try to explain what you're trying to say. All right? And but let me tell you one more thing. You're not allowed to say everything and anything. All right? You need to be very careful what you're speaking. It should be relevant to the question. Don't speak irrelevant. Otherwise, you will not score good here. Okay, Jia Khan, I'm just going to reply to you and some of the students right after just going to finish this. Do not speak in monotone. Most of the people, they speak in the same tone. They have the same pitch. They don't use intonation. Intonation means they have no idea like where they have to put the stress and where they're not supposed to put the stress. And let me tell you, most of the English speaker, they put stress on the last word, okay, or maybe on the word that they use and which is quite meaningful. Please do not draw anything on the screen, please. It's a humble request to you, dear. I know that you all are educated and I want you to behave in a good manner, in an ethical manner. Okay. Okay. Mm, okay, I've just explained that to you. So 10th one tip is practice common IELTS topic. Well, I've got the list of the all practice papers that have been done before, or I've got the whole series of topics, the IELTS examiner asks in their speaking test. So I've got the list of it. If someone wants from your side, please do tell me and do share your email address so I can share it with you, or you can get it from PNY Trainings, from their platform. You can get the frequent asked speaking topics, IELTS topics from this platform. And now I'm going to the chat section now. Okay. Okay, there you go. I'm just going upwards to see that. What are you asking? Okay. Okay. Attendance, please. Okay, let me ask someone to facilitate you with attendance. And can we get this certificate? Okay. Well, dear, as you know that IELTS is an international exam and we cannot give you this certificate from our side. It will be issued by the awarding bodies in Pakistan. And there are two awarding bodies in Pakistan. First one is a British Council and second one is, AEO, the Australian Embassy Office. But from our side, for the training purpose, yes, maybe you will get the training certificate and we will give you the training certificate. Don't worry. How to work on our accent during speaking test. It's a very, Mohammed Hassan, I'm just going to give you a very simple tip for that I usually give it to my students, but I cannot give you the lecture on that. You just need to work on five particular sounds. Most of the people say P, so don't say P, say P, P, P sound, P. And instead of saying T, say T. And whenever the any vowel it comes before C letter, then pronounce it like K, not like K, K. And if any vowel sounds come later, L, Q, double L, pronounce it like O, not A. And R letter, R letter, if R comes in the middle of the word, then please pronounce it slightly if it comes in the middle or at the end. But if it comes in the beginning of the word, please pronounce it completely. Now, let me tell you what I meant to explain. Okay, like if I would say, this is a pen, it sounds like a non-native speaker is speaking that. But if instead of calling this pen, I can call it pen, huh? It's a pen. So you can feel the difference. What is the time? What is the time on your cell phone? What is the time? Oh, I am talking to you. I am talking to you. Oh, I like that beer. I like that beer. Beer. R is going to be pronounced very slightly here. Okay, so you just need to practice these five letters, like five sounds, p, t, k, o, a, and believe me, you will feel quite a lot difference in your speaking. Okay, I'm going to the next queries. This video available where? Well, my dear, you can, if you talk about the videos, you can watch the animated videos from anywhere. They are available on Netflix, they're available on YouTube. That you can, get that from different resources. And I can recommend you one funny animated movie, and that is Kung Fu Panda. And you can also watch Harry Potter series. It's quite wonderful and dynamic. How many parts are there in speaking portion? Well, my dear, before that it was called the section, now it's called the part. So in the speaking parts, there will be three, section. And the first section is called the general questionnaire section. Second one is called Q card section. And third one is called follow-up questionnaire. Okay, oh my God, I skipped some of the questions here. Okay, very informative session. Oh, thank you so much, Asif Imran. Thank you. Dear Taryn, kindly mention how can one enhance his vocabulary. Okay, let me tell you, dear Javeria Nizam. Sorry if I pronounce your name in the wrong way. Okay. Well, this is quite a good question, but let me tell you one more thing. Whatever the new word that you learn, try to practice it. And if you don't practice that word, you will forget it after some time. So it's quite good for you, or it will be helpful if you'll use that word. And if you're not going to use it, I'm afraid you will forget that. So there is no use to learn so many words. But if you'll practice your IELTS reading sections or IELTS passages, believe me, there are so like you will find plentiful, useful, and quite good and wonderful vocabulary. Okay. Sir, please facilitate us by giving link of English classes plus phones to join your IELTS campaign details. Okay, dear, I'm just going to give you the number below so you can contact on this number. Moveria, Movia Azim, workshop name. Well, this workshop name is IELTS. IELTS best tips. How can you get or achieve good bands in IELTS? When IELTS centers will open in Pakistan? Well, dear, our center hasn't been open yet, but we are giving online lectures on a daily basis. So you can join us in our class sessions. So please repeat the name of the movie that you suggested. Okay, my child, I said Kung Fu Panda, Harry Potter series, and even you can watch different, fantasy or fairy tales movies. They're quite good. Last time I watched the movie Rapunzel, it was quite good and the vocabulary was fantastic. Okay, sir, please repeat the name. Excellent, sir. Zaman Fridi. Oh, thank you so much, dear. And I'm quite humble to you, Zaman. Thank you so much for using these beautiful words for me. And online session, please repeat. Online session. Yes, of course, I can do that for you, dear. Anytime. Very informative session. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. Okay, so here I'm just going to give you the number. Okay, so you can contact on this number. Mm, okay, that is 0309 777 2260. Okay, and his name is Mo- Hashem. Hashem. Raja Hashem. He's a Raja. Yes, I said Raja. King. Not the king. I'm sorry. I'm just making fun. It's not the king. He's our training, he's a manager, branch manager, Raja Hashem. You can contact on this number and he can get you registered or he can tell you the further procedure. Okay? Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I've told you about the speaking test. Okay, now I'm gonna talk a little about, I'm just gonna talk about all these modules one by one. Okay, now reading. Okay, okay, there is one more question I've got, so let me take this question. Okay, Mara Amjad, my name is Sayed. Okay, here I'm gonna type this, sorry. Typing on here. I'm an English language trainer, Sayed Safda Nakwi. Yes, there you go. My name is Sayed Safda Nakwi. Okay, Now, let's start with the top 10 tips for the reading test. Now, for the most of the students, for most of the candidates, reading is reading is scariest test or it is quite difficult test. But let me tell you, it is very simple test. Well, there are two versions of the IELTS. Uh, like the students who wants to apply for diploma purpose or wants to apply for the job or for settlement visa or for spouse visa category. So it needs to sit for general training module, and it is quite easy. The reading sections are quite easy in general. But when you talk about academic module, certainly the level of difficulty is higher. All right. And you need to work quite a lot on the reading section. And let me tell you, if you will enjoy reading passages, you can do well. But if you won't enjoy them, I'm afraid uh, you will not achieve the targeted band. So you need to practice quite a lot on that. And the reading test, it has three sections. It is divided into three parts, and each passage it consists of 2,500 words. So it is quite complex when you talk about academic session. So you need to work quite a lot. You endeavors a lot. Okay, so let's start with my tips. Dear students, please don't mind. I'm just going to take all your question once I'm going to finish with these reading tips. But I'll definitely answer to all your question. And if you have any sort of question, you can ask me. Okay. First tip is skim and scan. Okay. Skim over and watch for the answers. Okay, one more thing. Most of the students, they ask me the same question. That's how can we do well, or how can we get a good score in IELTS? Let me tell you, my dear, whenever you will find the reading passage in your IELTS test, try to read the title, the topic of the passage. It is quite informative, let me tell you, because if you'll read the title, if you will read the subject or the topic, automatically you will develop some understanding relating to the passage. Okay, if the topic is about if the topic is about medicine, then definitely you will come to know about some medicine. If the subject is about discoveries, so definitely they are going to talk particularly about some discoveries. And if they are going to talk about some dynamic changes, then definitely you're going to read about it. For example, if my topic is about bees, right? In the IELTS section, if my topic is about bees. So if I'll read the title, so, intuitively I'll understand that, yes, here in this passage, I'm going to read about bees, like maybe about bees, that how do they collect and gather honey, why do they stash it, how they're going to use and produce it, and how migratory beekeepers they use bees for that. And if it is about conservation programs, so you will automatically develop that understanding or intuition that if it is about conservation, so maybe they will talk about how they will preserve the endangered species, some precautions, some preventive measures, or maybe some strategies, or maybe some laws or policies influence on that. So read the title first. That would enable you to understand what is written in the passage, in the information below. All right. And one more thing, some of the students, what do? They read the question. Questions are called facts. They read the questions and then they come to the passage. And then they try to skim it or scan it. Skim means they underline the specific words from the question and do that. Try to underline your question, the most important words, all right? And then try to skim these words in the passage information. And once you get them, or maybe their alternative, and then scan the information from tip to bottom. All right. In that way, you will be pretty much sure about your answer. Most of the people, what do? They just give a bird eye view quickly. They give a bird eye view to the passage, and then they try to, mark their answers. They don't understand what information is given in that. Try to read it. Read for the reading purpose, not for getting answer. Definitely, your primary purpose is to get answer, but you need to understand the information in the passage. Otherwise, you will stick with the passage and with some of the questions, and you will be unable to answer most of your questions. And as you know that reading is a time test. You will be given only 20 minutes for the each section, for each passage. So don't waste your time. If you do not find your answer, I'm afraid, for any of your question, so just mark that question and go to the next question. And maybe at the end, consult again, and you may find the answers again. Otherwise, at the end, you can fluke your answer. Tuka marlena, fluke your answer. Okay, but you have to try quite a lot to get the answer. But do not waste your time in the reading test. Watch your time, and when you are practicing for the IELTS test, try to watch your time, that you have to finish your one passage in 20 minutes. But try to finish your one passage with the minimum time, not with the maximum time. Otherwise, you will not left with so much time in your second part or in your third part. And I'm afraid you may left with so many unanswered questions. Okay. Uh, Now, the third one tip is your spelling correct? Okay. One more thing. When you talk about listening tests, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answer from the question booklet to the answer sheet. You will be given a separate answer sheet for the answers. But when you talk about the readings, you will not be given even a single minute. All right? So what you need to do is try to, when you're going to transfer your answer to the answer sheet, try to check your spellings. Proofreading is very important. Proofreading is very important. Some people, they get exhausted while taking their LWR, IELTS test. So they just complete it very quickly. They're so much hasty, and then they hand down the paper to the examiner and then they snake or leave from the room. So don't do that. You are spending quite a lot of money on your training, so you need to be sincere with it. And along with that, as you know that the IELTS test fee is quite a lot, so to not waste your money. If you really want to waste your money, so you can buy some good food for yourself, get yourself energized or vitalize yourself, or you can buy a good, dresses for yourself to impress others. But if you don't want to waste your money, please sincerely practice, for your reading, writing, listening, and speaking test. Okay, keep the order. Okay, when you talk about the summaries part in the reading test, then certainly they follow, the sequence, the order of the text. But you cannot be sure. But when you talk about the general training test, they do follow the order of the text. But when you talk about, the academics test, so sometimes they do use that, sometimes they don't follow. So keep it in mind. Okay, underline the specific information when you read the passage. My strategy for the reading test is what I do is firstly, you have to look at your look at the title or the subject of your reading passage. Then just for 4 to 5 minutes, give a bird eye view to the whole information. And if it's about discoveries, if about the scientists, underline the scientists and their works. All right. And if it is about any specific information with the dates and time, underline those date and time, time frame. So that will help you a lot because, and then you can even go to your questions, read the question type, what kind of question you're going to get, and then try to answer your questions. Okay, unfamiliar. vocabulary. Most of time we find so many ambiguous, hard, and difficult words, but you don't need to care for them because you're not supposed to know each word that you read in your passage. You just need to produce the answer. So just look the specific word and see that whether it will be the answer or it can be the answer. Okay, the next important tip is pay attention to the details. Read the question very carefully. I'm going to say this again and again. Please read the question very carefully. Because if you do not understand the question, because most of the people don't read the question even. So let me tell you one more thing. You have to read the question. You have to understand what the question is, what the examiner asks you to answer. Because sometimes the examiner asks you to answer some of the questions for like within one word, and sometimes he asks you to give the answer within 3 words, and sometimes he wants you to use different alternative words or synonyms for the answer. Sometimes he wants you to use a grammatical structure and change the verb into noun or noun into verb. All right? So there will be some technical grammar issues. So try to understand this very, very carefully. Okay, no blank boxes. Please, if you do not get answer for any question, don't give blank boxes. Like try to, fill that blank with any of your answer. You can fluke it, you can guess it, you can have a rough idea or estimation about the answer, but please do not unanswer any question or don't give blank to any question. Keep it in mind. Cross out the wrong answer. Okay, if you feel like when you're doing the proofreading, if you feel that no, this answer cannot be right, so what you need to do is you can change it. That's easy. You can change it. But for changing that, you need to assure yourself that it is a right answer. It can be the right answer. You never know that whether you're going to like the same answer that you're crossing, maybe it is the answer or the new word that you have come across, or maybe the new idea that has popped up in your mind that can be the answer. Okay, choose your own techniques. So most of the people, they read the question and then they give the answer, but most of the people, they read the passage first and then they give the answer. So try to practice with your own technique, what suits you or what is the best technique that you can follow, and try to give the answer within a short time frame. Okay, after doing that, I'm just going to take some of your questions. Okay, there you go. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, your good name. I've Mara. I have already told you. My name is Sabdabas Nakwi. Your good name, please, Sabdabas Nakwi. Okay. Um. Okay. Um. Okay. You want to join our IELTS classes? Dear, I have already given you the number. Please contact on that. All right. And they will share link with you relating to class, online class. Workshop name. It's the IELTS, I've already told you. Okay. I think I've given the answers of most of the question. Very informative session. Thank you so much. Okay. I have appeared in IELTS general training module and score 6.5 in speaking, 6 in writing. Okay, here one of the students, he is sharing his report with us. 7.5 in reading and 7.5 in listening. I'm weak in writing and speaking parts. How can I overcome my weakness in both of these parts? Well, my dears, I've told you that you need to have abundant practice. All right, Javeria, if you don't do practice quite a lot, how would you get that? You need to work on your accent, you need to work on your pronunciation. And we are giving classes on accent and pronunciation. You must join our language session and IELTS campaign. They are quite good, and you will have quite good results because we have trained so many students and they easily score 7.5 band. And along with that, they got or they received their required band. Okay, dear students, kindly open this link and fill this form properly. Okay, okay. The admin, he has given that link, so you can open that and fill it yourself. How can we open? It's getting copy. It is getting copy. Well, I would like to ask the admin to tell you how to open that if you're finding any sort of problem. My required band is 8777 to qualify Express entry with Sadia Trainer. It's their online class for IELTS training in these days of COVID-19. Yes, dear, we are offering the classes. You can join them, dear. We are going to start a new session from this week, from Friday tomorrow. So you can join us in that session. So yes, of the yes, it's correct. Want to know about your official? Okay, someone asked me official page where I can details of online. There you just need to, Mara, you can go to, like you can contact with the number or that the number that I've given to you, and they will give you the details relating to the class and link and official page. Excellent approach, sir. Thank you so much, dear. Share PPT, please, with us, please. Okay, dear Mohammed Yusuf, we are going to share PPT with you. Okay? Don't worry. Anytime for you. Very informative session. Oh, thank you so much. I'm quite humble and I owe to lots of people here. And thank you so much for giving so much appreciation to this session. And even it's a great privilege for me to work with PNY trainings. And it's amazing because I worked there as examiner, as an interlocutor. So I've got the abundant experience and hopefully you will be benefited by my experience. Thank you. Okay. So we have done with the reading and speaking. Okay, I think I have to go from here. Okay, so I've done with the speaking. I've shared my tips about reading. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my tips on speaking. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to start that. Okay, now let's start with it. Uh, I've just called the I've called in person from the admin from the admin side, so from HR. So if they could help you with the links and further details. Okay, and even you can contact on the number that I've given to you. Okay, when you talk about listening test, let me tell you, most of the students they get confused with the listening test. And let me tell you the reason of that. Because, most of the people here, you do not listen to English all the time. And whenever they try to speak English themselves, people mock their language, laugh at their language, and in that way their confidence, it gets shattered. All right. And even most of the time, you people hear Urdu and Punjabi, so you do not develop that listening habit. So I've already given you the tips that you have to develop some listening habits. Try to listen some talk shows, try to watch animated movies. So they're quite helpful for you. And even in our speaking session here, we are playing BBC advanced lectures and even BBC initial listening tests. So I think these recordings are quite wonderful for someone who actually wants to improve his listening and speaking power. So I think I must just you can join our speaking classes, and they're quite good. They're wonderful, and even you can join our um, IELTS session, IELTS campaign, and we will guide you how you can brush up your listening skills. But here, I'm just because the time is very short, and I have to cover all these four modules. It's quite difficult for me to summarize all that or put everything into into nutshell. But for sure, our next session, IELTS training session, is going to be start from tomorrow. So please, if you want to take that session, if you get yourself enrolled for that, do let us know. Okay. Now, let's start with this, with the listening test. Well, lots of people they ask me the same question. Says when we listen to, when we sit for the listening test and when we listen, English and different situation. Of course, there are four parts in the listening test, and they are around 40 question. Around means sometimes they are less than 40 question, like 38, and sometimes they are more than 40 questions, like 42. But it would not be more than 42, and it would not be less than 38 questions. All right? Okay. So now my first tip for you is improve your journal listening skills. Try to watch talk shows, try to speak English with each other on telephone, because when we listen to someone on telephone, so we get confused sometimes when we do not understand. So I think it's far better to start talking to people or talking to someone who actually knows what English is and how someone has to, speak on various topics. Try to speak on different topics every day, and try to, listen to the people, try to listen to the recordings, try to watch talk shows, try to listen different programs, and try to listen English news. Let me tell you, English news is quite helpful to improve your vocabulary. For example, if I might hear about in like BBC or maybe CNN news that blizzard hits North America. So now the word blizzard for me, maybe it's a new word, and maybe for some other person it's not a new word. But for the person, if it's a new word, then definitely he's going to learn that new word, blizzard. What is blizzard? Then he will, he'll just Google that word and he'll find that word. Okay, it is about, it is about a snowstorm. So don't you think that you have learned a new word? And when you talk about listening, when you are watching news, then definitely you learn quite new words on daily basis. And along with that, try to learn from their physical shape of their mouth. That how do they utter the sound and how do they speak it? That's very important because when they speak, they use their physical shape of their mouth. But please don't make any horrible practice. Don't spit on each other. Most of the people they try to speak like English native speaker and they try to spit on each other. For example, I know that. Okay. So don't do this horrible practice. Be natural, and yeah, it's quite good sometimes that you try to adopt foreign accent, but I will give you very helpful tips for, to change your accent and to change your pronunciation. Or maybe before going to end this session, I will give you 10 words of pronunciation. It will be very interesting 10 minutes, last 10 minutes. So please stay with us till like you have to be with us, of course, with the whole session. But please you will enjoy your last session, and I will unmute all of you, and you may ask me any question that you want to ask, or that is creating confusion for you. All right? Okay. Polish your topic vocabulary. Okay, that's very important. When you listen to so many recordings, you learn different vocabulary, you learn different expressions. So try to use them. Whatever you listen, try to use them. Let me give you the example of a child here. A child, he speaks the language, whatever he listens. You know, if I'll say to my son that, okay, beta, shut the door, shut the door, darwaza band karo. I'm using Urdu and English together. Shut the door, darwaza band karo. Darwaza band karo, shut the door. But after some time, when I'll speak that word, or if my child will hear that word for more than 10 to 12 times, so if I'll simply say to him, beta, shut the door, so he will automatically understand that and he will shut the door. So try to polish your vocabulary. If you learn or if you pick up some word from someone, try to Google that word, or maybe you can ask the meaning of that word from that person. All right. In that way, you will enhance it, but you need to practice it as well. Okay. When you talk about your test, the second tip for you is sometime you listen some word in the recording and you need to put that word in your answer in the blank. But let me tell you one more thing, which is very, very important here. Sometimes they do not ask you to write the same word. They 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 want you to understand the complexity of the grammar, that which word suits or best fits here, whether it's a noun, it is a verb. All right, so you need to understand that which word you're going to put in that blank. Okay, now the second is plug in the situation. Okay, plug in the situation. What is plug in the situation? All right, let me tell you one more thing. You can easily identify your answer in the listening test. I can give you the guarantee for that. You can easily score 7.5 at 8 9. Why? Because if you'll just concentrate a bit, all right, and believe me, you will see a clear difference in your speaking, and that will be improved automatically. Okay, plugin means when they will play the recording, as I've told you before, that the new changes have been made in the speaking test, and you will not listen to the example in the beginning of the listening test. So they will directly start with the parts. So whenever you're going to listen the recording, they will tell you what the recording is about, who is going to talk in this recording, and what the topic is in that recording. So listen to that whether this recording is between a colleague, or a teacher and a student, or between a customer and the shopkeeper. So in that way, you will get a little bit idea. And when they will say that they are going to talk about the shopping, they're going to talk about advancement, they're going to briefly talk about their lectures on science, on sociology, on history, right? So when they will talk about that, so you will get a little idea. And even whenever you're going to listen the recording, let me tell you one more thing. Underline the words in your recordings. One word before the blank and one word after the blank. That okay, and try to, because you will be given 30 seconds, before the recording will be played. So you will have abundant time to understand what would you going to write down here. Like if it is written with the, like before the space, if there is a sign of a pound, that means you have to write down the number. You have to write down the pounds. All right. If it's written with the date, that means it's pretty much sure that you're going to write down the date. If it's about phone number, you're going to write down the phone number. So try to underline the one word before and one word after that blank. So in that way, you will get a little idea what word or what best word fits in that blank. Okay? So plug in with the situation and try to imagine yourself that you are part of that recording. Otherwise, you will get lost, you will get digressed, and you will lose. You will lose, and you will lose not in a sense that you will not only lose your question, it will be you will be lost somewhere, and you will repent after your listening test that, oh my god, I have ruined my test. So please don't need to be panicked when you sit for the listening test. Try to plug in yourself, try to imagine the situation, try to get connected with the recordings, and then try to give the answer. Do not lose the attention. I've already explained that to you. You have to be affiliated with the recording. Okay. Watch out words indicators. As I've already explained that before and after the blanks, try to look at the words particularly, and even the words like however, but, then, finally, even you can underline that words because they make the great changes in your listening test. Do not the right answer too quickly. Okay, most of my students say that, sir, sometime, especially they put up these questions in the MCQ sort of questions, that, sir, when they speak about, when they have, when they are going to talk about a particular subject or a lecture, or they're going to have a conversation, and if it's relating to MCQs, they speak all the MCQs. No, not exactly. You have to understand first what the question is, underline the specific word, and then look at the options below, that whether, okay, whether they're asking this and this information or this information. Like, for example, I've quoted one example here, so you can see it here. A lot of students fall into this trap as soon as, like, for example, if you listen, if Sam says that, thank you, I have received your email. So it is laurenhansen@gmail.com. So here, Sam said this, but then he said, no, 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 no. I made a quite big mistake. I should have said Lauren Hansen. So then he will correct himself. So when you're listening to the recording, quickly jot down your answer, and you have to listen it completely, that what changes he made himself, and whatever the changes you're going to make the second time, that will be your answer. Okay? So please take care of that. Check for silly mistakes. Okay, silly mistakes. What are the silly mistakes? I have to talk about here. Okay, what can be the silly mistakes here? There are three types of mistakes that we make. Although you write the right answer, but even then you do not get score for that. Okay, why? Because sometimes the examiner asks you to give your answer with the plural form. Like he wants you to write about, like if he asks you to about mangoes and you write mango, so he will cross your answer because that answer was in plural. And if he talks about spellings, if he asks you to write down about the spellings of something like London, and you write the spelling like London, London. And one more thing, here I'm going to tell you two things that how we'll not get score for that. London. So it is a noun. So the first letter would be capital, and if you write it somehow with the lowercase letter, then it will be crossed, and you will get no score for that. For the noun, you have to write down the word with uppercase letter, and if the examiner asks you to write down the plural word here, you have to write down the plural word here. And the word forms also. Sometimes examiner, he wants to see that how well you understand and how well you equip with the language. All right. So he intentionally talks about a word, and he wants you to write down the noun word there in the blank. So you have to read the question in that blanks in the summary section. That mostly happens with the summary section, that you have to understand the grammatical errors, and you have to see that you have to look, you have to look at the whole sentence and see that what word best fits here. If they ask you about write down about defense, not to defend word, then you have to look into that. Okay, so you will not get time. Okay, so in the listening test, you will be given 10 minutes extra time to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. So you have a plentiful time, but still, please be careful. For question number one, write down the answer in the spaces which are given in the answer number one. And then you have to see the orders and then fill the all blanks according to the order. Don't leave any blank answer. Do not leave any blank answer. It's a humble request. Try to fluke to Camaro at the end. Okay? Thank you. So I've done with the listening, reading, and speaking. Now it comes to the writing. But before that, let me take some of your questions. I'm going to take some of your questions. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking at your question. Bundle of thanks, for your session. Mara. Mara, thank you so much, dear. Share your presentation, sir, please, at the end. Share your presentation. Okay, my child, I can share it with you. All right. There is no issue, Mama Yusuf. But beta, I'm just going to share these slides in the group so you can get that from PNY website or from PNY platform. Okay. Because you know that. Okay. Thank you, sir. Nice session. Anam Shuja. Thank you so much, dear. It's a pleasure to listen these kind words from you. Okay. Share your presentation. Nice session. How you will share, sir? How will you share? Dear, I'm just going to share that link. I'm just going to share it as I've already explained it with PNY Trainings platform. You can get that from there. Please share the link of the class. Are you talking about the class link? Yes, dear, you can contact us on the given number. And then I have already shared the number with you in the chat box. You can go to the chat section. Our training manager, our manager, our branch manager name is Hashem, Raja Hashem. You can contact with him. And even I think the link has been already shared. So you can look up. Will the session be available on YouTube? I'm not sure, but let's see. I want to have this session on YouTube, but it is up to the management and they're going to decide that. Okay, attendance link. Okay, I think I want someone PMI training the page per recording here. Yes, PNY training FB page per recording here. Yes. Please send group link on FB. Okay. We need to focus on the recording while attempting the listening test. Is there any effective technique for this? Yes, dear. We are already giving classes how you can attempt well, and believe me, we are seeing quite positive results for that. So try to join us, our IELTS campaign, and our new session is going to be starting from tomorrow. So you can join us, and definitely you will learn quite a lot. And it will be a pleasure to teach such wonderful audience. Thank you. Distance, kindly open this link and fill this form properly with the proper full workshop name. Okay, yes. Workshop name. Dear, it is about, day workshop on real preparation for achieving targeted band in IELTS. Okay, this is what you have to understand. Okay, so how do we increase our vocabulary? Moviazin. Movie, I have told you, beta, you can watch the news every day on BBC and CNN. You can just go to Facebook or YouTube and subscribe them, and you will get their updates every day. So you don't need to confuse and vendor. Okay. Sometimes while attempting listening test, we forget some of the important details. What should we do then? Dear Mohammed Usnan, it's all about your practice, my dear. Some people, they lack practice, and because of this very reason, they lose the score. if you're prepared well, you're confident. Let me tell you one more thing. Most of the people, why they are not confident or why they get puzzled or confused, because they do not have enough practice. So you need to have abundant practice for that, and in that way you can do well in your listening test. Mm. Okay, so, I think we have shared. Aisha Riaz, yes, she has shared that. Sayed Ijlal Asif, can someone please reshare the attendance link? I just joined here from FB. Okay, that's great, dear. Sayed Ijlal, thank you so much, dear, for joining us today in this wonderful session. Thank you, and being kind enough to share your, like to spend a little time with us. Thanks, sir. Kindly throw light on how to crack writing path question two. Okay, Javeria, I'm just going to answer to this, my child. Don't worry. I'm just going to answer this to you now. It's all about enough practice and self-confidence, truly. Of course, dear, if you don't have practice well, how would you get good result? For example, if someone who doesn't work hard, do you really think that he will be paid off? No, certainly not. And someone has to work quite a lot, and in that way he will get, a quite good result for this. Okay. Okay, it's all about enough practice and okay, Jivaria. Okay, thank you, my child, for sharing your beautiful ideas and thoughts. It's quite wonderful. Thank you. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about writing. Well, dear students, dear spectators, dear listeners, most of the people, they get confused with the writing, and even they do not score well in the writing part, and most of time they get the lowest scores in that. Most of students, they ask me the question, sir, why why do we not get good results in writing tests? We are good at speaking, we are good at writing, we are good at reading, but what about our writing part? And how can we brush up our skills in the writing task? How can we achieve our targeted bands? As I said before, the title of this session is about real preparation, so it will be a wonderful session for you. So let's talk about writing. Okay, writing. When we talk about a writing test, well, if I talk about, because as you know that there are two versions, like there are the two different types of the students for the IELTS writing. One part, one type of students, they want to attempt general training module test, and one type of student, they want to attempt for academic writing. So my dear, I'm going to share my tips with you later, and I'm just going to tell, please don't draw any line on this. I know you people are very cooperative and good audience and educated audience. Please do not draw anything because it doesn't look good and it is somehow unethical, as I said before. And I know you people belong to quite good families. Thank you. Okay. Top 10 IELTS writing tips. Okay. Understanding the question what asks you to do is a crucial for achieving a good score. Sometimes your examiner, he asks you a different question and you give a different answer. Quite irrelevant, ambiguous sort of answer with the clumsy structure, and in that way you will lose your score. And today I'm just going to give you tips and I will tell you for like how you have to attempt this part, and which is very, very important. Okay. Um, that's why always read your question thoroughly and cover all the points you're asked to write about. For example, I have a question here. The government should pay to the parents of every young children so that one of them can stay at home and look after their children. Okay, this is quite interesting, sort of question. And maybe this question is in my part two for academic session. And let me tell you, for part one, let me explain the writing task first. Well, Whether you sit for academic or for journal test, you will have two tasks. In the first task, you need to write down the answer. Like you will have only 20 minutes and you're supposed to write an answer within 150, 150 to 170 words. Well, the word limit is 150. Then why we're going to write down 170 words on that? Why? Because my child, articles mean a and the. They would not count as a word in the Ielts writing. So you have to be very careful. And one more thing, some people they ask me another question, sir, how are we going to count our words when we are writing because it's pretty much hectic and panic. So you don't need to be panic. What you need to do is simply count the words in the first line, and then you can easily count the rest of lines and multiply the lines with the first line word limit, and you will get your answer. But let me tell you again, your articles will not count as a word. And for the task one, you will have 20 minutes, only 20 minutes, and you're supposed to give its answer within 150 to 170 words. If you write under the length or over the length, you will lose the score. Okay, and I will tell you my techniques how to write and how to make paragraphs. And when you talk about writing task two, you need to, as you all know that you're supposed to write on 250 to 275 words on that. The word limit is 250, but you're supposed to write on 270 words at least on that, and you will have only 40 minutes, 40 minutes, not more than that. So try to practice quite a lot, try to practice a lot with this session. And in that way, you may be able to get quite good scores for the writing. And now for the task one, they have aggregated 9 bands into 2 different sessions. For task one, there is 3 bands. For task two, there are 6 bands, and total bands are 9 bands. And how they're going to aggregate your scores, you need to develop a well-structured paragraphs. All right, keep in mind, well-developed structured paragraphs. In the task one, you need to make just 3 paragraphs or maximum 4 paragraphs. If you make more than that, so it shows that your writing is a bit clumsy, it is without a structure, and you may lose really good scores in the writing test. And talking about paragraph, the second section, second task, you need to make at least 4 paragraphs or maybe maximum 5 paragraphs, not more than that. Otherwise, you will lose the score in this section. Okay. Now, as I was given, I'm going to highlight this. This was the topic, but let me tell you one more thing. You don't have to concentrate only on this topic. You have to see what the examiner, most of the people, they give the answer according to this statement. Wrong. You're completely wrong. This is the reason you're not being given good grades or bands for this writing. You have to look at the information, what the examiner asks you to write. You have to do this part, not the question. Question, definitely you're going to, you're going to write down or making paragraphs relating to this statement. But what you need to write, this is what you have to understand. And look here, you just have to follow this. What do you think are the pros and cons of this policy? So you don't need to focus on the statement. You need to focus on this. So you will talk about the pros and cons, uh, like positive points and the negative points of that, and justify your answer. You have to justify it, like whether this is a responsibility of the government to provide parents, some sort of opportunity, livelihood opportunity, or a financial sort of help, that could be helpful for them, that they could stay at home and look after their children. Or you think that it creates more, like it has more benefits or disadvantages. You have to justify your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. And then there are bands for this section for the pros and cons, because there are 6 bands, so they're divided. So you have to look into that. And for the example and for justifying your answer. You have one band for that, and one band for pros and cons, one band for synchronizing your paragraph, and one band for your grammar. That's it. So it is divided in this way. So you have to. I've got the call from the management section, so I have to stop. Okay, I'm really, really sorry. I was just attending the call from the management side because most of the people they were having lots of queries about the registration and about the lecture and the material. So definitely we are going to resolve all your issues and we're going to address your all queries. Okay, don't worry. So I've just received the call and they ensure that they're going to listen to you and definitely they're going to do something about it. Okay, so when you read the question, try to attempt the answer. You have to just understand this. And then you have to give your answer according to this in second section. And do you understand? I think if you people have any sort of question, you can join our campaign and I'll further explain it to you. Otherwise, failing to complete one of the requirement of the task result in a lower score. And if you don't do that, if you don't mention the pros and cons, if you don't want to generate any on conclusion or crux, and if you do not quote any relevant examples from your own knowledge and experience, you will get lower score and you cannot achieve good bands. And if you follow the whole instructions, believe me, you will get quite good and quite astonishing bands. Okay, read what you have written and try to do proofreading before giving or before handing down your work to the invigilator in the test session. Try to you know proofread it, so that is good somehow, because proofreading makes it to understand that if you have done any mistakes you can correct it. And when you're going to proofread reading something, take it as an examiner, don't proofread it as a student, because in that way you will do not understand your mistakes. Keep it in mind. Be clear. Stick with the simple words. Don't use complex vocabulary. Do not use colloquial expressions. Don't use idioms and slangs. Don't use ambiguous sort of or skeptical sort of structure. Use simple grammar. That's it. And please try to understand the question first, that whether your answer will be in present and past. Okay, write about what you know and try to develop your answer within your own knowledge and experience. All right. And now you have to follow a certain criteria for task one and task two. So let me share what you need to do for task one. To get the maximum points, you should follow the standard structure. IELTS writing task one should be written as follows. At the first, you will write down the introduction. If it is about, I'm talking about academic session here. So you have to basically, the question over there, that is basically a statement. So you have to rephrase that statement and then you can explain the whole demographic situation. Demographic mean there will be chart, bar, graph, all right? These sort of things in that part. It's an easy part because you're not supposed to add anything from your side in academic session in part one, in task one. You just need to explain what are you looking at. That's it. And then you will give your overview, state main trends, that what was the main points, and then specific details, like give just describe specific changes and providing data. That's it. At the first, rephrase the statement, give the introduction, what are you going to explain, and then in the next paragraph, in the body paragraph, write down the whole information in ascending order. You can write the whole in ascending orders, one by one, or maybe you will talk firstly about the biggest changes and then the least changes, and then you can talk about the rest of detailed informations. All right. And then at the end, you will just write down the detailed information, the crux, that what trend was going up, what trend was going down, what was the specific information was given in the passage, what was going up, what was going down. That's it. Now, in task two, as you know that it may be a topic or it may be opinion, so you need to write down the introduction paragraph. Do not start your paragraph with there is and there are. Most of the people, you do this mistake. And one more thing, when you're writing something, you just have to follow a few instructions. What are these instructions? For example, if you start your paragraph, do not start it with there is and there are. It shows that you lack vocabulary or you don't know much about the statement. Okay? Second thing is that try to use verbs instead of using noun. And along with that, try to use active voice, not passive voice. All right? They're complex structure and even they give quite different meaning to your topic. And the next one is do not use contractions. Contractions mean short forms. Do not use them. And do not use ambiguous or colloquial expressions if you do not have command over it or if you do not understand it well. Okay, so do introduction part, body paragraph, and then conclusion. Just rephrase your opinion from the introduction. That's it. Do not write too many words, please. If you go beyond the limit, you will lose score. And if you write under the length, you will lose score. Okay? Choose your writing style. If because you will see the diversity in two sessions, especially in task one. When you talk about academic part, task one, you have to be formal because you're writing to university lecturer. You're writing this report to university lecturer or someone official or someone who is educated reader or an expert examiner. And when you talk about journal, it is about like most of the time you're going to write down the letter to your friend. So write down the letter or start the letter with dear sir or dear Ali. If you're writing to your friend, dear Ali, then you will get the points. Stick with those points in task one. What the examiner asks you to do that. Make one, choose one point, pick up one point, and then make one paragraph for that. Take second point, write down the paragraph on that. Take third point and write down the paragraph on that. Okay? And in that way, at the end, you can write down the crux. It's done. And most of time it is informal writing. Informal mean you can start it in this way, like if you're writing to a friend, you can be informal. You can start with hi, how are you doing, I hope you're fine. But if you're writing to someone official, you will use the word hello, because hi is an informal word that we use with someone with whom we have a condor relationship, a frank relationship, and with someone we have quite reserved relationship, or if you're talking to someone official, do you use hello word? Okay, so try to do not just follow my instructions. Always use verbs instead of using noun. You do not use contractions. Use active voice, not passive voice. All right, and do not start your paragraph with there is and there are. Do not use complex grammar. Okay. Next tip, which is quite wonderful, is don't branch off. Do not branch off. What does that mean, by the way? Sometimes we are writing a topic and we digress from that topic because we lack vocabulary or we lack understanding. and we write or explain something else, or we use, we rewrite some other ideas. Or for example, we take one point and we drag the same idea in all paragraphs. So it's quite harmful. You do not get the acquired band or desired band for that. So please, write clearly and coherently, address your topic, write and try to understand your topic. This is what very important is. Do not write anything and everything, okay? And try to make concise, brief, but meaningful sentences. Do not write meaningless and long sentences. Try to show your grammar, but please narrate your ideas clearly. And thank you so much. This is all for the tips today. And although I have a lot more to discuss with you, I have a lot more to share with you, how you actually get through with the reading, writing, and listening. So I think that cannot be possibly done today. So as long as, or as soon as you're going to join our class sessions, our campaign, definitely we're going to explain everything to you. And maybe you will have a wonderful session with me. Uh, Hopefully. Okay, so right now, let's go to the chat box and see some of the queries along with that, what the people are going to ask me for that. Okay, okay, there you go. Okay, okay, open this link and give your feedback reviews. Okay, dear, this is very important message from the management side. So you can give your reviews to the management. All right, this is the link. I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to tell you how you're going to do that. Okay. Well, simply you will copy this link from here and you will go to the Google account here. You will open that and you will paste it here. And you will come to our official page. You can give your feedback and reviews to us. And, I will be I would be indebted to all of you if you will give your kind review to us, because in that way, being an examiner, teacher, interlocutor, we learn quite a lot from you, from your feedback. And if you have anything negative to share, do share with us. And that way we can even rectify ourselves and we can make the positive changes in us. Along with it, if you're going to share something which is like if you're going to share your valuable feedback to us in a positive way, we highly appreciate that. All right, and that's all wonderful session with all of you. You can simply go with this session. So you can go with this session and you can come and join us. All right. So hopefully we'll have a wonderful. Okay. Now what I need to do is, okay, so I have told you the way you can go to copy that link, go to that, just click on that link. You will come to our official page and you can share your valuable feedback. And we really need that. We actually really need that. Okay. iPhone में पास है PPTs के. Okay. Can you send us the PPT, please? We can send that to you, my dear. Message करना WhatsApp पे कर दूंगा. Okay. Sure, Noor. Okay. RS Hotmail. Okay. Session. Okay. Now I'm just going down. Okay. Session is great. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful session all. Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed Hussain. Aisha, helpful. Thank you so much, my child. Deveria, thank you, trainer, for such an informative session. Jazakallah, sir, for today's session. Thank you, my child. It's a great. Thank you. Okay. Still there are eight messages to read. Okay. If we follow these tips and instructions, can we get 9 out of 10? Mohammed is sad. Okay, beta, only there are 9 bands. They are not the 10 bands. So you cannot get 9 band out of 10. Inshallah, you'll be able to get 9 out of 9 band with your own practice. Being a trainer, we can tell you our suggestions. We can tell you what can be good for you. We can tell you how you can improve your shortcomings, and we can work on that. All right. And if is there any question at the end, you can ask me there. We have got 10 minutes. So you can ask it. Wonderful session, share the link. Oh, Jia Khan, thank you so much, my child. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's wonderful, my child. Thank you so much. Informative and fruitful bundle of thanks for this great effort. Oh, thank you so much, my child. Such a beneficial, helpful session. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate those who are listening to me today. And it was a wonderful session with all of you. You people have been very kind and cooperative audience. Thank you so much. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. We can share that link with you. Okay. Okay, so it's all done from my side. And if you people have any question, you can ask me again. You can ask me. I'm there for you. I'm here to answer all your questions. Give tips for speaking English language fluently. All right. Well, sir, what is your email? Musana, Muhammad Musana. Okay, Muhammad Musana, thank you so much, my child, for appreciating and acknowledging. I think you can get my official PNY training, email address, and we can talk on that. We can work on our shortcomings. Let me tell you one more thing. I think being a trainer, being an examiner, because I've spent quite a lot of time being an examiner, and I've learned a lot from students. I think I've conducted so many tests, and it's all enjoyable. So right now I'm going to just I've got a little time at the moment, so I'm going to start my presentation, my activity with you. Hopefully you will all enjoy that. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Hopefully, I can simply say that. Hopefully, okay. I'm just going to open. Okay. What is the difference between pronunciation and accent? This is, I'm just going to clear this concept here because most of the students they are confused about it. Okay. Okay. Would you please tell me? I'm just going to unmute to all of you so you can even talk to me. You can ask me anything that you want to ask. Okay. I think I should mute all of you or I should unmute. Okay, I'm just going to unmute all of you, and it is up to you that you can unmute yourself, or you can even tell me anything or ask me anything, whatever you want to ask. Okay, unmute. I'm just going to unmute all of you. Okay, okay. Yes, I have just written down this word here, OF. Would you please tell me the pronunciation of this word? How are you going to pronounce this word? Any one of you, you can unmute yourself and you can tell me that how are you going to pronounce this word or how this word will be spelled out. Yes. Anyone who's willing? I think I haven't unmuted any one of you. Okay, show the thumbnail videos, show small active speaker, hide thumbnail. Okay. I don't know why the option is not visible at the moment. Okay. Mm. Okay, I don't know why this option is not visible at the moment. Otherwise, I would like to unmute some of the students in the live session and I wanted them to speak about it. Mm. Sure. Remote control. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. Uh, I'm just going to. Yes, I'm going to unmute to all of you, my dear. I've unmuted to all of you. So you can simply, what you need to do is you can unmute yourself and you can tell me the pronunciation of these words. Any one of you,
Off,
I would warmly welcome that. Okay, Javeria. Javeria said
off,
that.
off,
Beta, Javeria, you can mute yourself now. Beta, this is not off. This is of, not off. This is of. This is of basically. I cannot write down that symbol sounds here, but this is of. O double F is called off, like switch off the air conditioning, switch off the fan. But this word is of, not off. And the next word I'm going to write down is SOUR. Yes, any one of you can unmute yourself and you can tell me the pronunciation of this word, please. Any one of you, you can unmute yourself, my child, and you can tell me.
sour,
Javeria is the only one who is
sour,
this. Sayyid uh, Ijlal, I want to ask you, dear, would you please pronounce this word?
Sour.
Okay. Okay, very good, Sayyid Ijlal. This is called sour. The pronunciation of this word is means sour. Sour, that means like a things that contains a tangy flavor in it, a tangy flavor, like acrid or tangy flavor. So it is called sour. The grapes are sour, not sour. Okay, sour is a different word that is S-O-R-E. Sorry, S-O-R-E, sore. Okay, so sore means to feel pain or to feel ache. All right, like I've got sore throat, so I'm unable to speak. And yes, okay. And the next word I'm going to write down here is yes. Yes, what's that? Can anyone, would you please pronounce this word for me? Can anyone pronounce this word? Okay, Hafsa. Hafsa, my child, can I ask you to pronounce this word for me?
colonial,
My child, it is colonel, not colonial.
Colonel.
Colonel, colonel. Well, the Prime Minister has called an emergency meeting of colonel and official bodies. Okay, next word I'm going to write down here
colonel,
is yes. Would you please pronounce this word for me? G-E-N-R-E. Any one of you, Muhammad, no, Aisha Riyadh. Aisha Riyadh,
John.
would you pronounce this word for me, my child? Hello, Aisha Ross. Can you listen to me, my child? Or any one of you? There are so many participants that
John, can I share John?
yes, yes, for
It's
sure.
genre.
Noor Waris, beta, it is genre. Genre. Genre means kind of, sort of, like which kind of music or which genre of music do you like? And right now, I'm just gonna talk about the last word, although there are so many words that we speak in a wrong way, but it is my favorite word. And I love this word. Yes, would you please pronounce this word for me? Any one of you? Severia, yes,
Pizza.
Severia.
Pizza. Pizza.
Severia, my child, it is not pizza, it is pizza. 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 All right. Well, once you will join our online classes sessions for the language and IELTS classes, we'll tell you so many words on daily basis, and hopefully you will learn quite a lot, and it will help you to achieve your targeted band. It was wonderful experience being with so nice and cooperative audience, and thank you so much. I'm highly indebted to PNY Trainings for arranging such wonderful workshops for the student. And thank you so much, dear students. Uh, Thank you. So much respect from the core of my and bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to end this session. And if any one of you wants to join our
Thank you
online,
so much for giving us a chance.
thank you so much, my child. Thank you. It's great to listen from you. Thank you, everyone. Great to see all of you. Great to listen all of you. It was pleasure. Thank you, and I'm going to end this session now. Take very good yourself. Keep smiling. Have a nice day. Allah Hafiz for today. Allah Hafiz, everyone.